You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, we're going to talk about the Steelers and the 49ers, but more specifically, Jimmy Garoppolo. And this report's coming out, and I've got to wonder if this, combined with the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo's facing a 2-game suspension for PEDs, I've got to wonder if Jimmy Garoppolo's career in the NFL might be over. Because there were all kinds of rumors about this when he was with the Niners. Full disclosure, I'm a Niners fan, and I'm a Jimmy Garoppolo guy. I have been. I'm not saying that they should have kept him over Brock Purdy. No, Brock Purdy's the better quarterback. But there have been some rumors that he might even come back as the backup. And I thought, man, that makes a lot of sense. Except if Jimmy Garoppolo has not got over this, whatever this weirdness is with Jimmy, and I don't know what it is, but now it's come out, and I've got to wonder because there were a lot of rumblings out there that his career might have been over prior to this. Like Josh McDaniels might have saved Jimmy's career because of the connection there. And it's because of this supposed disappearing act that I think we've all heard about over time with Jimmy Garoppolo. And evidently, he did not stop doing this. And I don't understand when Jimmy goes to a team. There were reports that the 49ers brass, and I'm talking about Lynch and Shanahan, literally couldn't get a hold of their starting quarterback. Like Jimmy would just go missing in action, and they could not get a hold of him. And we're talking like off-season training camp and during the season too, that there would be stretches, hours where they just couldn't get a hold of Jimmy, and sort of a disappearing act. And evidently he did this with the Raiders as well. And there was a lot of rumblings out there that teams were very turned off by that they want to be able, if you're going to be the starting quarterback of an NFL team, teams want to be able to get a hold of you basically 24/7. I mean, you're getting paid a lot of money as an NFL player, all right? And you're supposed to be the face of the franchise. So this is Niners noise, but this is by way of Albert Breer. Quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo is valid proof that the proverbial glass isn't always greener. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. In contrast, Garoppolo had about as good as he was ever going to get it during his lengthy tenure with the 49ers, one that ended unceremonious fashion in 2023 and was accompanied by reputations of injuries and physical limitations too. Apparently being aloof too. All right. According to a recent report from SI's Albert Breer, Garoppolo's new team, the Las Vegas Raiders, took far less time growing weary of the quarterback. And the reported statements are yet another damning aspect that will assuredly hinder Jimmy Garoppolo's already diminishing stock. Jimmy Garoppolo angered Raiders in ways similar as the 49ers. And there's no questioning that Jimmy Garoppolo just came in and won a lot of games with the Niners. He immediately stabilized that quarterback situation. But there was some real strangeness combined with injury problems, and they just couldn't keep rocking with him. They couldn't. In his column on Monday, February 19th, Breer centered on Garoppolo's tenure with Vegas likely coming to a close. He's going to get released. Stemming from earlier news that the veteran signal caller will be released just one season into a 3-year free agent deal he signed with Vegas entering 2023. News of Garoppolo's 2-game suspension for performance-enhancing substances surely didn't help matters. Breer highlighted Garoppolo's injury reputation. He dealt with a foot injury upon signing the deal with the Raiders that created controversy. That's right. When he signed, there were issues around his physical. Remember, they had this big press conference, and Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't there. And it was because they were working out injury protection language in the contract that was not done yet. I remember that. I did a video on it. As one reason why the Silver and Black grew upset in a very short period of time. But it's what Breer added that truly makes Garoppolo stand out for the wrong reasons. Quote, Garoppolo had a reputation for being aloof in San Francisco, which would drive detail-oriented coach Kyle Shanahan nuts, particularly when, at points of the offseason, the Niners would have trouble getting a hold of him. Some of those problems carried over to Vegas, where a group that knew him, led by Dave Ziegler and Coach Josh McDaniels, had hoped he growed out of some of those tendencies. I guess he didn't. I guess he did not. Breer went on to describe how that clouds Garoppolo's future, noting how even as a potential backup, Garoppolo would not only be have a dangerous injury reputation, but also not, quote, be locked in. That's amazing after coming through the Patriots system that Jimmy is that way. It's damning indeed. Now the Raiders bench Garoppolo after just 6 starts into the 2023 season, and his demise also paralleled that of both Ziegler and McDaniels, who were also fired midway through the season. With options running low for Garoppolo, it's hard to see what the future will hold for him in the wake of this critical report. Well, and there's even rumors, like he's rumored right now, like bookies.com. I mean, they have the Steelers and the Vikings as big-time favorites to step in and sign Garoppolo this offseason. Like, he may be the backup plan, that he may be the perfect plan to drop into that Steelers situation. And if Kirk Cousins signs somewhere besides coming back to the Vikings, Garoppolo, he's the betting favorite now in Minnesota to come in there. They're probably going to draft a quarterback, I would guess, as well. But this is a bad look that Jimmy did this again with another team. And there were a lot of rumors prior to him going to the Raiders. It was like all these things aligned for Jimmy. Ex-Patriots coach gets hired by another team, the Raiders. Tom Brady opts to not come out of retirement and play for the Raiders, which was the plan. They had already lost Jarrett Stidham to the Broncos. If they hadn't lost Stidham to the Broncos, Jimmy wouldn't have been signed with Las Vegas. Okay, now, there's part of me that believes he would have ended up with the New England Patriots because Belichick loved him. And I still wonder whether or not Jimmy, and Jimmy is on that betting board, by the way, for New England. I think maybe they're the third leading team for Jimmy Garoppolo. But he had trouble finding a job because it was going around this inability to get a hold of Jimmy Garoppolo and the weirdness around that the Niners have. Honest to God, even though Jimmy Garoppolo was injury prone, it is my belief that it's that as to why the Niners opted to not bring Jimmy back as a backup and instead pivot to Sam Darnold. The Niners were ready to let Jimmy go and wash their hands of him. And it was because of this. Now, Jimmy wasn't happy with them either because he came in while Brock Purdy, when Trey Lance got hurt, Jimmy came in and played lights out, MVP kind of quarterback. 16 touchdowns, 4 picks, and then he got hurt. And then Brock Purdy came in and never to see his job again. But word has it, once he got hurt once again, they had trouble getting a hold of him. Now, nobody knows how true that is, but by the time it was over, Shanahan and Lynch were furious with Jimmy, and Jimmy was furious with them. And look, all these coaches, they're all intertwined. They've all been on each other's, coaching staffs and all of that. So Jimmy may have trouble finding a job. All right, now that it's come out right here that was an issue with the Raiders as well, that he would be aloof and weird and they couldn't get a hold of him and all that. Now, he may come out and deny some of this. I don't know. But that's the second coaching staff, the second in a row that had trouble getting to him as a quarterback. Now, I will say this. His teammates in with the 49ers love him. Like George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, they're big Jimmy Garoppolo guys. I wonder if you gave them true serum right now, who would you rather have, Jimmy Garoppolo or Brock Purdy? It wouldn't shock me if Deebo and George both said Jimmy Garoppolo. You know, that wouldn't shock me a bit. There was just something about it. The teammates love Jimmy. So that's a big deal if you want to bring him into the locker room. But, I mean, is there a work ethic issue with Jimmy Garoppolo? Is that why he keeps getting hurt? I don't know. It's weird, but this could end Jimmy. The fact that this happened again with yet another team when it was sort of known that Jimmy's career might be on potential life support because of that and injuries, even as much as the guy wins. I mean, you look at Jimmy's record and you look at his stats and you're thinking, this guy's going to have no problems finding a starting gig. None. With the crappy quarterbacks in the league, no problems. It's the other stuff that may be a problem. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.